Hey guys, it's a few minutes after I recorded the video you're about to see. I completely forgot to mention we have not seen Walker Kitty since prior to March 16th. That was before the a-hole neighbor came back, so I don't suspect he had anything to do with that. Say hi, Mr. Wizzy. And I have not seen Bright Eyes but one time, I want to say in close to 2 months, and I can't even be sure 100% that that was Bright Eyes, so that really sucks. But certainly I have not seen Bright Eyes in over a month. And the other update is the bear. There's been no new sightings, pictures, or videos on the local Barryton page about the bear, so I'm not sure where that bear is hanging out right now. So it could be heading our way, I don't know. But just thought I'd update you on those couple things. Hope you enjoy the flood stories. Hey guys, it's Friday evening, about 9 o'clock. Look how much the stump is showing already. That was an incredibly freaky rainstorm we had. Wednesday morning, we noticed it started raining, not heavily, probably about 10 o'clock. And it's like, I don't remember having any rain in the forecast, so we opened up the weather app and looked at the radar, and there was this massive area of just red and purple to the east of us. Like, wow, I'm sure glad that's not hitting us. Well, this freaky storm actually developed and went towards Lake Huron and then got pushed back towards us. And that's when it opened up about 10:30. It started just torrential rain. And it ended up being pretty much a consistent heavy to torrential rain for a little over 4 hours. And it's being reported that we ended up with 4.1 inches of rain. Some areas not far from here got 6 inches of rain. The shelter that we go down and help out at, they had so much hail that it actually looked like snow on the ground. They had straight line winds that took out 3 trees down at the shelter. So it was just an insane storm. And I did confirm that yes, he did open the dam. And I originally said that he didn't call me. Well, I went back and excuse me, looked at my phone. Yeah, he tried calling me twice Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock and 5 minutes later. But he didn't leave me a frickin' voicemail, and we were busy picking things up and moving stuff out. In fact, we didn't actually start getting serious about moving stuff out till a little after 7 when Carl came down with his lawnmower and trailer, and Paul came down. So me, Tracy, Paul, and Carl just moved trailer load and trailer load and trailer load of stuff out to the garage. And then you guys saw, if you saw us go live, when we came over here next door just before 10 o'clock, the water was going over the top of these steps. And then when we went live, the water was already down to right here at that time. And I couldn't sleep in that horrible bed in there. It was just too soft for me. But anyways, I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the water was all the way down to the bottom of that board. So I stayed up for a little while longer, and then I said, screw it, and I grabbed Wizzy and took him back home because he would not settle down. He was pacing and meowing, pacing and meowing. And I took Gizmo back home, and then when I went home, Butchie woke up and she was whining and pacing, and her toenails on the floor, click, 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 kept Tracy awake. So Tracy came home about 4:30. We ended up staying up till about 6 o'clock. And then finally got some sleep, and boy, I gotta tell you, both of us we hurt in places we never hurt before. But the water ended up coming up right up to the front of the house. None of it came in, thankfully. And what time was it we noticed? What are you pointing at, dear?
Stump.
Oh, yeah, I showed him the stump.
11:30.
Yeah.
We noticed it was starting to...
But it came right up to the front. Even before it reached the front of our house, it was already at the front of Art's house next door, and he said he did get some water inside, so that sucked for him. But We're good. I can't say we moved all that stuff for nothing, because had we not moved it, we probably would have flooded.
Absolutely, we would have flooded.
So,
That's the way things go.
always better to be safe than sorry. But I just thought I might tell you guys some flood stories. I've seen a lot of comments like, oh my God, how can you live like that? I'd be so stressed out and all that. Well, my mom and dad bought this place in 64 or 65. I can't be quite sure, but it was certainly 65 at the latest. And back then, it was just a summer-only cabin. It had no insulation and stuff like that.
No closets.
Yeah, no closets, nothing like that. But me and my mom, every summer, she would pull me out of school a week early before school let out. And we'd come up here and we stayed, excuse me, all summer long. Well, back then, the dam that was in town was just this rinky-dinky old thing that was controlled by a board. I know I have a picture. I should be able to find it, and if I do, I'll put it right
People don't
here.
Believe us when I tell them that.
I know it, but I have the
We
proof.
have photos. We have photographic proof.
But that dam was horrible. It was nothing but that dam, and had a little spillway next to it that was running all the time. But it was almost a spring ritual to know that this place was going to flood in the spring, because they really had no flood control from the dam. So one of my earliest memories as a kid was walking through this place when there was probably about a foot of water, barefoot, mind you. The electricity was still on. And I was probably about 8 years old.
Those were different times.
About 8 years old, and we had a floor lamp, and I stepped on the frickin' cord and got shocked in the water. That's probably why I haven't forgotten that.
Final piece of the puzzle, huh, folks?
Yeah, but like I said, it was a spring ritual. When the river started rising, there used to be a little hotel in town that had, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 rooms. The Berry Toner. And unfortunately, that little place burned down. It was a pretty neat little hotel, which also gave people here somewhere to go when it was going to flood. But me and my mom would just pick up what we could. We put the furniture up on chairs, which was very sparse. There was not much of anything here to worry about losing then, but we'd go get a hotel room.
And there was a lot of linoleum and plastic and metal.
Yep, linoleum floors, no carpet, that kind of stuff. So we'd get the hotel room and come back and check, and then once it went down, we would just come in and hose it out and dry it out.
And didn't you say before you left in the winter too, you would, like the last time you were going to be up here, you'd put everything
up? Yep, just in case it flooded before we got up for the spring. But that was pretty much a spring ritual back then, so I grew up with it. It doesn't freak me out as much as most people. I had that feeling Wednesday afternoon. Tracy kept telling me to shut up, but I'm like, hey, I got the same gut feeling I had when I could find the bear. I'm telling you, we're going to flood.
I know, but I was like, shut up, don't make this a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But we were good after they had to bulldoze the dam in '86. They had a freak storm back then. They got 11 inches of rain in 48 hours. That was really crazy, but there was nothing they could do. They had to bulldoze next to that old dam or it was going to burst, which bulldozing next to it basically burst it anyways. But the water came up so fast, by the time we heard about it, because back in '86 it was a different world, we drove up the next day, and by the time we got here there was only a few inches of water, but the water line on the house was 4 feet, just above this door handle, right there. But the place got 4 feet of water.
That house down there, you said that it took out the wall.
Yeah, back around the curve there, one, two, three, 4 places over. They're right on the curve, right close to the water, about half the distance that we are. The water came through with such force that it actually washed out the wall and almost took off the whole front of the cabin, but it did not. But that was '86, and then they built a new dam that we have now. And for 19 years, we did not have a flood. So in the meantime, in those 19 years, we built this addition, used drywall. We used green board, luckily. That's mostly waterproof, but didn't have any
water resistant.
Right, didn't have any floods for 19 years. And then I can't remember in '95 how much water the flood was. It was minimal, if I remember right.
I wouldn't know. I didn't
I know
meet
you weren't here then.
Yeah, I didn't meet you until 1998.
Yeah, so I don't remember, but we did get some water. But then after that, it was great until 2014. Then we had another really freak weather system. The storm just circled over the top of us
Sat on us.
for how long?
It was 24 hours.
24 hours of just torrential rain over and over and over. And then they opened the dam, and that came up fast.
That was the Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, firefighter knocking on your door.
Yeah, up on a Sunday.
Basically telling you, hey, you're going to flood.
Yeah, they opened the dam, and they knocked on the door and let us all know. Well, I remember they specifically, because my friend Bill brought his 2 grandkids over to help us move stuff. And at 4:30, the water was just right about there. And 3 hours later, it was in. I mean, it just came up so freaking fast. And that year, we ended up getting 2 foot of water. It was right up to the bottom of the windows. We didn't lose a lot because we had gotten everything out of there. It's still a pain to clean it up.
That was my first flood, though.
Yeah, that was Tracy's first experience. And that was the first experience of having to walk through. The cats were all in the house. And we had waders. And we had to bring in carriers. We brought 2 carriers at a time, grabbed cats 2 at a time, and took them over to my neighbor's Chuck's pole building, and he let us keep the cats.
No, we took them over there.
Could be, I guess, but I still... And one time we took them over to Chuck's pole building also, I do, for sure. And one time we put them in our garage. We didn't have 3 floods, so I don't know how that could be.
We had one time where we thought we were going to flood, but we didn't. We stayed the night over at Carl's, but we didn't get any water in.
But then in that flood in 2014, we ended up finding out that one of the gates, the one I showed you guys, that the wheel no longer functions to open the gate. Well, they had opened that gate, and they couldn't get that gate shut, so the water just kept coming. But again, that flood, when we went to bed that night, there was 2 foot of water. The next morning when we woke up, the water was back in its banks again. I mean, it was up and gone that quickly, which is great because it helps you not end up with mold. The houses down during Hurricane Katrina, they sat underwater for a week or more. Well, you're screwed when that happens, but they are basically flash floods, so they're up and down really quickly.
There's a video of our rescue out of that house.
Yeah, somewhere.
Chuck's got it on his...
We stayed over there next door that particular time, and the water just about that far from coming in that place next door, but all night long we slept in that house, and it was still pouring rain, still thunder. All night long we kept hearing stuff banging into the house, boom, like propane tanks, pieces of wood, whatever it was, but it was really hard to sleep.
We didn't sleep.
Yeah, it was just boom, boom, and it would shake the house, and you're like, what's the next thing? Is it going to come knock the foundation out from underneath it or what? It was pretty freaky. But we ended up getting rescued by the fire department. I had my police scanner in there, and we heard, and by the way, they were a little late on this, but they said on the scanner, we're coming into the Vista, and we're coming out to secure propane tanks. Well, if your propane tank wasn't secured at that point, it was gone already. But we heard they were going to be here, so we called our neighbor, and they flagged down the firemen, and they came and got Art next door. He had a flat-bottom boat, because you really couldn't walk between the cabin and the road because the current, the main strong current of the river was coming right between the cabin and his garage. It was really dangerous to walk through, especially with stuff coming through by your feet. So the fire department put a rope from tree, or actually I had a rope from tree to tree in case I had to get in or out. I used a rope to hold on to, and they grabbed the flat bottom boat, and they came and got us and the 3 dogs, or 2 dogs, I don't remember how many we had at that point.
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah, because I remember we had Butchie was in one of the carriers. I don't think we had... Did we have Gizmo?
No, we did not have Gizmo then.
Buffy was not in the carrier, but the other 2 were.
Yeah.
So to keep them safe, and in that video you will be serenaded by Butchie the entire time.
I will see if I can find that video.
As she was yelping.
But I think Chuck filmed the video of us getting rescued from the boat.
I think he posted it on his YouTube.
It was. And then 2017, don't remember all the circumstances, but it rained enough that we ended up getting a foot of water.
Yeah.
But nothing,
just a foot.
Nothing was worse than the 2014 one when there was 2 foot of water in the house. trying to find all the cats. In fact, we could not find Salem and Lily. And they ended up being up inside the frickin' love seat. They had burrowed in or up or whatever. And I thought they had gotten under the bed and possibly drowned because they weren't answering us when we were calling them, even after the water had receded. And we came in and finally somebody made a sound.
Yeah, Salem. We were calling and I just heard this very faint meow, and I remember we had a bunch of people in there. I think Chuck was in there, just a bunch of people, and I just went, "Shut up!"
Yeah.
And everybody was silent, and all of a sudden you just heard this faint.
But all the cats
meow.
were all right. Those two were obviously, we had to leave them because we couldn't find them. But poor little Domino was in the bedroom in here, and she actually jumped off the windowsill and jumped into the water and swam all the way across the house, back all the way to this window. So cats are pretty good swimmers.
We were able to pick her up after that.
Yeah,
though,
she gave up after that.
Yeah, she just looked at me like, okay, help.
So, but that was crazy, guys. I just thought I'd share some flood stories with you, and that's why I don't have a heart attack when it's going to happen, because I've grown up with it. I'm used to it. And yeah, I guess it takes a special breed to live here and deal with it, but it's certainly getting harder for us as we get older.
Thank God I work where I do.
Yeah.
Is all I have to say.
They were really cool about letting her have yesterday off.
Yeah, I sent a message to one of the guys that I work with, and I just basically said, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. And all I got in response was, if you need anything, you just let us know.
Which crazy kitty is that? One of my cats is way out there.
Where?
Mr. Casey.
Mr. Prowler.
Way down there on Patty's deck. So, but we're good. It's gone down a lot. Unfortunately, they're predicting possibly severe storms tomorrow, but fast-moving severe storms.
So it's not going to be no 4 inches in an hour.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be a freak thing again, but we're probably going to sit out here a little bit tonight since we can finally relax a little bit. And the swamp is alive, guys. I got to tell you, there's one over here, there's one over here, and there's a big swamp back there that used to be on the property that we co-owned, and it is loud out here. So the parabolic is kind of useless because it's so loud. But
when we used to go out there on that property, if you got near that swamp, it was deafening.
Yeah.
You couldn't hear each other talk. It was so loud.
So, but it's nice. It's still like 70 degrees right now, going on 9:30. So
hopefully I sleep tonight.
And we are really close to the full blood moon, which will be
Supermoon.
Sunday night. Hopefully we'll be able to see that.
Hi.
That's pretty nice. So just thought we'd share some flood stories with you guys. As always, we appreciate all your guys' thoughts for us and the worry that some of you expressed that you were not sleeping because you were worried about us, but we are okay. And then the bonus side of this, because we remove so much stuff out of the house, like the closets, you know, things get stacked up in the closets. There's 2 closets in this addition, 1 in each room. Got those cleaned out and cleaned the floor. The bedroom, Buffy used to go under the bed all the time, and she shed a lot of hair, so we were able to, since everything was out of the bedroom, move the bed around, clean the floor, shampoo the carpet, which is, we were happy to do that because it's way easier than sucking water out of the carpet after a flood. So the house is in good shape because of that. So
except now I have to bring everything back in and put it all away.
Yeah, just
Yay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we don't really a lot of stuff we just keep moving back and forth. It's like, why do we have this crap? But it is what it is. It's just for spring cleaning, I guess you could say. So, but thanks for hanging with us on this one. We'll see you on the next one.